How's it going, everybody? It's Joe Fox News, my channel. I talk about anime, video games, cartoons, most notably Sonic and Ninja Turtles. And today I am streaming. Yep, I know I'm like about a whole almost 25 hours late from what I originally had promised that I was going to stream, but I was kind of like, well, so originally I was going to have a guest come on. I was going to try to do this. Oops, my bad. Turned on my PS4 by accident. Thought it was turned off, but apparently not. Um, or it was. But anyways, I was gonna have a guest come on last night, but she kind of like something had came up, so I'll try to see if I can get her on board later. I'm gonna keep it a secret for now and have it be like a special guest, special surprise kind of thing. But I guess it gives me more time to kind of think about what I might do or whatever. I do have something in mind that we're going to talk about, but I'll save it for later. And maybe I might invite a few other people on there. I kind of have some people in mind, but yeah. So I don't have anything too big to talk about right now. At the moment, this is just more like sort of kind of a chill stream and just I guess just talking about what I'm looking forward in the future, and I might just check out some videos on YouTube and stuff with you guys for the fun of it. So yeah, hey there, the biggest Mutant Mayhem fan. Yep, that's me, the biggest non-fan of Mutant Mayhem. What's happening, Ashes? Good morning, where you're at. I'm pretty sure it's like 9:52 since you live in a whole different time zone compared to me. So, yep. So over here it's 9:52, so it's like about to be 10 at night. So, my preferred time. But yeah, so just talking about things I'm looking forward to in 2025, I guess. Originally, I was kind of thinking about making a video talking about like the things that I kind of find that people look for outrage, but I guess I might save it for this stream actually. So, I figured why not. But anyways, I'm gonna just tell you guys what I've been up to. I know I didn't really exactly post anything this week, mainly because I was kind of preparing for the canceled stream. But oh well. Again, we'll save it for later. And sometimes you just need a little bit of a break from like worrying, like, oh, I got to get this and that out here and there. So yeah. Of course, I've been going to work, going to the gym. I go to the gym early tomorrow. Just get it done and out the way. Um, let's see. As far as anime stuff, I've been watching. I actually started rewatching Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds. If I haven't already, yeah, I think I mentioned that last time. I've been rewatching Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds and stuff, and I just finished season one, so that's great. But before I started season two, I kind of was like, all right, let me start watching something else real quick. So then I decided to check out Dandadan, this or Dandadan, since I've never really seen it. I saw it, and it's a very interesting show. I'm gonna definitely say that. And I kind of like it. At first, I was like, and I'm like, okay, I see what this is, and I'm like, all right, it's not half bad. But yeah, but it's definitely pretty interesting. I definitely recommend checking it out. Um, yeah, so there's that. Um, so I took a break from Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds for a second to check that out. So I cleared 12 episodes of Donna Don. I just finished it before I just started this. So that's nice. Um, I'm gonna definitely try to get back on board with watching Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds. I definitely want to finish it before the end of this year. So there is that. I started rewatching Transformers shows and regretted rewatching Armada uh, and crying a river over Starscream's death. Huh. Never knew Starscream could have a sad death. I'm serious. I mean, because I don't know, like Starscream to me, when it comes to Transformers, even though he's kind of a cool villain and like one of the most notable villains outside of like Megatron, Starscream to me just always feels like that punching bag. You know what I'm saying? But it is also funny you mentioned that, Ashes, because I actually like I was going to go to this Pokemon convention, right? And then I went to the wrong place, which was like this Monster Con that they normally have at this event where they usually have all the Comic Cons and stuff at. What's happening, Empathetic Black Queen? I see you're about to stream in a couple of, seconds or something. How you doing? But yeah, so I went to this like thing where I thought, oh, they're having this Pokemon thing. And I went a little bit later at the Pokemon thing anyways. But this normal place that I normally go for Comic Cons and stuff had a Monster Con there on that very day. And I was like, oh, Okay, so it's not at this location. And they were selling like this Transformers thing, Transformers Energon and stuff on the DVD, and I was like, hmm. And I think it was like what, $2, and I'm like, ooh, I love DVDs, and I'm probably not going to see this for quite a while, years even. So I was like, you know what, might as well get it. So I got it, and yeah, watched a couple of episodes of Transformers. So it was pretty nice. Starscream was actually a major villain in Robots in Disguise 2015, actually achieving his goal of becoming an emperor like he always wanted. Nice. Hang on one second. I don't want this to. Okay, I'm back. Just wanted to turn off my TV by to reach over and grab my remote. Um, let's see. Video games I played and beat. Finally beat Dragon Ball Fighter Z, the story mode. I've kind of procrastinated on playing that game for quite a while, or playing the story mode, or finishing the story mode. That is. Now I finally beat it after all this time, so that's a plus. Um, let's see. I played Tekken 2. Yeah, the old PS1 Tekken 2. Not bad. I finally beat like all the characters and stuff, like Kazuya, Heihachi, Devil, Kazuya, Angel, all that stuff. So yeah, I'm gonna show you what I got from the comic book store. Let me pull that up real quick. Share screen now. Yep, this is what I got from the comic book store. Recently, I got that. What did I get this yesterday? Yeah, I think I got this yesterday. While I was out. This is a Robin comic and stuff. I kind of figured, you know what? Because my comic book store right now, they're preparing for like Black Friday, which is in November of after Thanksgiving and stuff, and they got these comics and stuff that they're selling for like $1 each. So I was like, huh, might want to take advantage of this. So I don't really see a whole lot of comics that I kind of wanted to get. Some of them are probably titles I never heard of, or stuff that I'm like, maybe I might be interested in this. And then some of the stuff is like either stuff that nobody's getting, or they just threw in the bin like that. Like, for example, like I seen some Captain Marvel stuff, and I'm talking about like Carol Danvers Captain Marvel stuff. I'm like, oh, yeah, no one's not buying that, or just some kind of terrible comic book, and I'm just like, yeah, no, or just whatever. But hey, for $1 though, and I definitely got this. I ended up getting this. Now a little bit of a story right here. So on the first day, I think I saw this, well, not this, but I saw a Captain America comic that was in the $1 bin. I was kind of like, okay, this has like a lot of pages, and I was kind of like, man, maybe I should probably get it. And all that is that like a whole bunch of like Captain America and some of his villains and stuff on there. And I skimmed through it, and I'm like, all right, maybe I might pick this up next time. And I left it in the bin, and then somebody probably came and bought it. And then I tried looking for that same comic later, and I'm like, oh man, somebody got it before I before I decided. So sometimes you just gotta make up your mind when it comes to just like getting things and stuff, whether you want to get it at the moment in case somebody else might take it, or maybe it's probably just not worth getting right now. But hey, decisions are decisions. So I found this comic at least where Captain America's fighting Iron Man. Looked pretty cool. I skimmed through it. It looked pretty interesting. So yeah. Then I got this comic. I read this last night actually, or yesterday, um, where basically this is a part of this saga called The Death of Clark Kent, where there's a Superman villain called Conduit. He's kind of a lesser known character, but Conduit, he's kind of a like a villain of Superman that found out his secret identity, and they used to go to high school together and all this stuff. His name is Kenny Braverman, and like Kenny had basically like hated, like he was good friends with Clark back when he was like back when they were kids and stuff, and they were in school, but he always had like a festering like a hatred for him. He always had like this jealousy, this animosity towards Clark, because every time Clark did something, Kenny will always come second place. Whether it be the debate club, whether it become track and field, sports, whatever. He was like Clark was always better. And you could probably say like, well, maybe it's because of his alien genetics and stuff, even though some of that didn't really, fully fester until like, or manifest until he was like a teenager or he was like 18 or something. But still, Kenny kind of hated Clark for that. And on top of that, Kenny's dad used to be like, oh, well, you're a loser. You're not like Clark Kent and stuff and all this other stuff. I wish he was my son and not you. Like, a lot of stuff like that. So it was pretty bad. But I was like, man. But yeah, but Conduit, I have some his tech and all that. He has kryptonite based weapons too. So yeah, if you really want to talk about like, like if you think Lex Luthor is a hater of Superman, this guy hates both sides. He hates Clark Kent and Superman, and he ended up finding out too. But this comic was pretty wild. And then of course I saw this and I was like, wow, I have to get this. Like of Captain America being turned into a werewolf. I'm like, all right, I like this. So I ended up getting that too, to make up for not getting that Captain America comic like I wanted. But hey, it is what it is. But yeah, but definitely some childhood heroes and all that stuff, especially like Captain America, because I used to love Captain America back when I was a kid. Like I remember for the MCU movies and stuff, I was always craving or I wanted like something like a Captain America show or whatever because I knew of the character. Rare to kind of give me a new one because like Captain America wasn't like out there like that yet. But yeah, I wish they would be TMNT and Marvel crossovers one day. Pretty interesting to see Tony upgrade Metalhead and Raph wrestling with Logan. That could be interesting. I mean, TMNT did crossover with DC, so right now they're in DC's corner more so than Marvel. Although growing up, I always kind of felt like TMNT was a little bit more sort of adjacent to Marvel, and then obviously because of the whole Daredevil thing too, or a Spider-Man and stuff, but mostly like, of course, because of the Daredevil and all that. Yeah, they felt a little bit more Marvel ish, but you never know. I mean, with Spawn, hasn't Spawn not crossed over with he's crossed over, of course, with DC with like Batman and stuff, and then later on he ended up crossing over with well, no, not him, but Angela. She's a character from Spawn and stuff, and now Marvel bought the rights to her, and now she's in the Marvel comics and stuff, retconned as like Thor's long lost sister or something. But yeah, but anyways, that's enough of that. Let's see, but yeah. So tell me how you guys are doing today and what you guys are up to and stuff. Like I said, just a kind of sort of a chill stream, but I'm gonna just use some old notes and stuff that I had. I was gonna probably make it to a video, but I decided against it. So let's see how this works. And if you guys have any questions, just hit me up. Hmm. Yeah, as you can hear, I took a lot of notes. So I'm trying to find my place of where I wanted to talk about. So pretty much I wanted to talk definitely about like, I kind of made some notes talking about fake outrage and stuff. How I really feel like this isn't really like anything new, of course. I mean, people kind of do want to drama farm or be mad about for the sake of just being mad sometimes. And I kind of do enjoy it myself. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, of course, you guys know one of my biggest, like one of my like highest viewed videos was the video that I made about Velma when I was talking about like season one, and I was like, oh god, this is trash, and I knew it was gonna be trash too, but I still watched it. So sometimes I gotta check things out of curiosity, and if I just feel like, all right, well, maybe I have to like talk about it and then I'll talk about it. Or if not, I just won't. Like for example, like I was on Jay Leno's stream, um, not too long ago. We were talking about Marvel Zombies and stuff, but I don't really feel like making a video talking about like Marvel Zombies myself personally because I'm like, I just I just don't know. I don't have much to really that I want to like contribute like that. But sometimes though, if there's something that is like, all right, I just gotta say it, or I gotta like put this out there. Maybe this might impact, make a splash, who knows? But anyways, well, that's just how I personally feel. Because I mean, like even with stuff like, let's say Avatar, right? I'm gonna bring up Avatar, not Avatar: The Last Airbender, not Avatar: Legends of Korra. I'm talking about Avatar, the Blue Cat movie, and all that stuff by James Cameron. Um, like I did not know before, like Way of Water, that people hated Avatar so much because I'm like, honestly, Avatar is not really that bad of a movie. Now, granted, I've only seen each movie once, so I'm not going to pretend like I'm a huge expert or on the characters or I remember every character like that. Or yeah, but I mean, I remember watching those movies and I was like, yeah, they're okay movies. I didn't hate it. Like first Avatar, I felt that way too. Yeah, I guess it was a little long, but yeah, beautiful visuals and stuff. And I kind of like the concept and stuff, the sci-fi and all that stuff. Like it was what it was. And then Way of Water, I saw that. And I thought that was pretty cool too when I saw it in theaters and stuff not too long ago. I'm just surprised that they actually made a sequel to Avatar after all this time. I was like, wow, that's pretty crazy. But yeah, like that's wild. How do you make a sequel to Avatar after all these years? I'm like, yeah, it's been like what 12 years. I mean, but hey, some people like can make a sequel out of like I don't know something from 20 years ago. Like look at Top Gun Maverick, but whatever, right? But anyways, um, but yes, I mean, I just like yes, I saw people like even people I follow like the Geeks and Gamers, Derek Anderson, being all like, oh, I can't stand Avatar and stuff like that. It's not a good movie and blah blah blah. Well, I'm like, well, if the movie can break records and make billions of dollars, I'm like, that is crazy. I'm like, that is crazy. I mean, obviously, that is. Yeah, I'm like, they must be doing something right. Avatar is okay, but let me see, but heavily overrated due to visuals. It's just Pocahontas with blue elves. I mean, I get that Ashes, but it's kind of like, I mean, a lot of that does take effort and stuff. It's not like, oh well, they'll just give you anything. Like, look at I don't know Ant Man Quantumanium. Like, the visuals and the special effects on that movie was completely like garbage and stuff. And yeah, it failed at the box office. Yo, what's happening to SSJ Namikaze, man? How you doing tonight? Not really talking about much. I was in the middle of talking about Avatar, but yeah, but you look at Avatar and stuff, and they really like made the movie look great. You know what I'm saying? Or it looks visually like amazing. Of course that money got to go to somewhere, or you got to give it up to the people and stuff. You know what I'm saying? That worked on it. So no, I just don't really have much of a hatred for Avatar like that. And yeah, I get it. The whole well, it's like based on Indian or not Indian. My bad, I said Indian. Like Native Americans or whatever, cowboys and all that other crap, blah blah blah. But I mean, sometimes other like especially like alien races and stuff. Sometimes they base culture off of other things like that we already have that's pre-established. Like got stuff that's based off of Greeks, Romans, Romanians, etc. Aztecs. I mean, yeah, that's how I am. No sense in doing videos about certain topics unless you really care about it or if it's really bad. Oh, yeah, exactly. I'm okay. Be better. How about you? I'm doing good. Um, it's Saturday, so it's not half bad. Just chilling for the most part. I guess I stayed in for most of the day. So, yeah, I was out mostly yesterday. So, yeah, we're not out mostly, but, just chilling. But, anyways, yeah. I wonder what Japan thinks about the Avatar since they apparently hate the Last Airbender. Oh, I didn't know they hated the Last Airbender, but maybe they probably have a thing against it because of what you call it. They try to make it almost anime like or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I'll probably play this trailer real quick, but yeah, looks pretty amazing to me. And of course, I muted it, so I'm not gonna do all that. But yeah, it's just one of those movies where I'm just like, yeah, I'll check it out. The stuff I got no like, I just don't like again. I just don't get the hatred on those movies. I'm like, all right, especially in this day and age or in this era and stuff where, yeah, we kind of need good entertainment versus just being mad at things all the time. That's just how I personally feel. And I'm like, well, this is something I was looking forward to. I'm like, all right. And the fact that I'm kind of more interested in looking forward to this over Avatar: Last Airbender, because I remember back when I was a kid and like I heard this Avatar was coming out, and the Last Airbender movie was coming out. I was like, well, it's not going to be better than well, I wasn't talking about the movie per se, but as far as the series goes, I was liked, of course, Avatar: Last Airbender more than this, and now I'm kind of like I've become a little bit cynical when it comes to Avatar, like the Avatar: Last Airbender, Legends of Korra series. Not because I think those shows are bad, but it's just like, all right, it just hasn't had a good legacy. Let's just say that. As far as them trying to like or the whole controversy, or I'm just like, all right, well, I'm ready to move on to something else and stuff versus to keep returning back to this and so on and so forth. They specifically hate Aang as the main character, saying he doesn't grow and acts immature. But that logic, they also should hate Goku and Sonic. I mean, Sonic definitely does grow and develop. I mean, depends on what version of Sonic it is. Goku, in a different sense, yeah, he does kind of grow. Um, I mean, he does kind of stay a little bit like as that naive, like type of character and whatnot that likes to fight, but he's definitely also gone through some development. Like in some ways, the West and the which we call it in the East, we have different sensibilities and stuff where there are things over there that we just don't get, which I feel like there's a lot of stuff that I feel like a lot of people don't get when it gets translated down here, and then there are things over here that may not translate well down there, but they probably don't get. You know what I'm saying? So that's just how it is. But yeah. Hmm. But yeah, so yeah, Avatar 3 was one of those things, and then what else? Zootopia. Yeah, and I remember Geeks and Gamers was also going on a rant or a tangent about Zootopia. Even I'm like, Zootopia. What you guys got against Zootopia? Like I'm like, because I remember that movie came out back when I was in school and stuff, um, and I enjoyed Zootopia. Like originally I just watched it online and stuff. I never really watched it in theaters, but I kind of regret not seeing it in theaters. I was like, man, he's very different from Goku and Sonic. Yeah, I do think that what you call it. I do like Goku and Sonic more than Aang, but Aang's a cool character though. I mean, Europeans definitely don't feel that attraction to tentacles like Japanese show and anime. I wouldn't say all that. I think that's only for like certain demographics of people that have like a little fetish for that kind of thing. Japan doesn't hate Avatar, and Aang has a lot of growth. Did we not see the same series? But yeah, yeah, Aang definitely did have some growth. I mean, it's more so like, look, as far as Aang, Goku, and Sonic, they have the same sort of personality from like start to finish on their like stories and stuff. I mean, in Aang's case, when we like get to him in like Legends of Korra, where in some of the flashbacks when he's like 40 or something, obviously he's obviously grown because he's 40 or 66 when he died and all that stuff. So yeah. But anyways, Zootopia though, with Zootopia, I was like, I'm definitely looking forward to that because back when I was in school, I was like a teenager when Zootopia came out, like back in like 2016. So I was like 17 when this movie came out, and I remember we were also talking about it in class too, and we even watched it as well. And Zootopia, we are like, man, let me read Ash's comment. Uh, I think Zootopia is overrated. Not as much as Frozen, but it's not as great as people make it out to be. Again, I disagree. And I mean, like again, it also made $1 billion, so it's doing something right now. But the thing about Zootopia is that Zootopia, like I remember we were talking about it back when I was in my computer graphics class and stuff, and they were like the my teacher. I'm gonna yeah. Well, actually, I'm not gonna go call him by his name. Well, actually, yeah, I'm gonna just call him by his name. So I had a teacher named Mr. Miller and stuff, and Mr. Miller, I remember he showed us Zootopia as well, and this was my second time watching it that year, and he was kind of breaking down like the animation and stuff, and like how they created these like of course these anthropomorphic characters like Officer Hops and Nick Wilde and stuff. Which, by the way, of course, I would love this movie because foxes and rabbits are both my favorite animals. So yeah. But that aside, though, I was saying like how they created this world where or this city where you have these characters that vary in terms of like size and shape or height and width and all that. And basically, like if you notice, like some of the areas and stuff are kind of like kind of made or trying to like or just changed up a little bit to like adjust. Like I'm gonna probably play this trailer, and they'll show some examples. Man, Nick's Hawaiian shirt reminds me of I Will Survive comic. I Will Survive the comic. It's interesting. Okay, so this is yeah. I'm gonna play the other one that came out recently after this. So look, all these characters vary in terms of like shape and size and whatnot, right? I haven't had a character too. I'm gonna probably talk about that the next time I like because I wanted to talk about my characters and stuff with my guests. But I'm gonna probably go into some explanation about that later. But I made a character based off of Officer Hops and Sonic and stuff. But yeah, because again, I really like this movie. I was like, wow, this is a really great movie, and I didn't expect that I would enjoy it as much. This is funny though. I'm not gonna lie. Even the bad guys, like I even watched that recently this year too. The bad guys too. I want to tell you, and I might talk a little bit about James Gunn too, but with the whole James Gunn thing, I'm gonna just say this real quick. Actually, no, I'm gonna say that later when I get to that segment, I guess, in this video or stream. And I'm glad my computer is playing very well too because recently I kind of just got a new computer like last month and whatnot because my old computer, well, I've had that computer for like since 2019, so like a good 6 years, and it did well, but that's why I wasn't the most enthusiastic on streaming on my computer, and I would always turn to my phone because um, it just ran better on my phone compared to like my computer and stuff, which had all this probably data or all this memory or whatever taken up. So I got a new computer. Seems like it's working just fine. Hopefully, I don't get kicked out of my own stream or whatever. I did use it to record the TMNT video that I did where I was talking about Mutant Mayhem. So, yeah, so far so good, by the way. And you see that? You see how like the offices and all that stuff, the soda can, this little mole character and all that, and the desk and all that, how that's all made to kind of accommodate to these like characters in this world building. Um, Again, that's the whole technological animation side of things. So look, even with the possums and stuff, and how they got the little area and stuff set up, or yeah, or even the cars too. Like the cars are also made. for certain like characters and whatnot. So yeah. Oh yeah, I remember seeing this. Hang on. Back when I was younger and stuff, I was not exactly the most thrilled when it came down to like riding and like roller coasters and stuff. Least of all, you need to know how to swim on some like on a water ride per se. You just get doused with a lot of water, of course. But I wasn't the most enthusiastic about that either. So sometimes when I'm on like a water ride and stuff, you you would try to do something like that and be like, try to stop yourself and be like, I can't, I don't want to get, especially this, like, nah, like, yeah, man. And then this was pretty funny too. But yeah, but man, like I remember too, I've been waiting for years for them to do a Zootopia, and it's been like Zootopia 2. And like, yeah, like I can't say this enough, like, because I swear I thought like a Zootopia, like, because remember, we were in that time where like usually when like for like the kids or whatever. And if they did, I would have definitely watched that show. I would have been like, oh man, I want to see more of this world of Zootopia and whatnot. Like, remember like Penguins of Madagascar? I remember how like originally we had like Madagascar 1 and then 2. And I think after 2, we got, Penguins of Madagascar and then Madagascar 3 and so on and so forth. I think there was a Madagascar 4, but whatever, you get the point. Like, there was like, yeah, and Penguins of Madagascar was like the show for that, or like Kung Fu Panda. We had Kung Fu Panda 1 and then 2, and then after that we had Legends of Awesomeness, that little cartoon that took place between 1 and 2, and then we had Kung Fu Panda 3, and then we had a few other Kung Fu Panda shows like Paws of Destiny or whatever, and stuff like that. And I think there was another show, and then we got Kung Fu Panda 4 recently. So yeah, so that's what I was like, man, that's what they should have done with Zootopia, in my opinion. But now they're starting to kind of lean more into like, all right, well, let's bring back Zootopia. We're doing Zootopia 2. Currently, right now, they're releasing comics and stuff by from Dynamite. One of my major problems with Dynamite comics and stuff is that I don't hate the comics that they have, but sometimes with Dynamite comics, in my opinion, like when I go to the comic book store and I pick it up, it is just very short, and it just doesn't feel like it's worth paying, like, I don't know, almost like close to $5 to $6 for this comic if it's like really that short. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, okay, well, you guys got to make this a little bit more lengthy and stuff. Like, you saw the comics that I was showing um earlier and stuff. Like, I got those comics and stuff for like 425 or 450 and stuff. I mean, and yeah, those are some old comics and stuff that was in like the $1 bin, but still, like, but at least they had like lengthy pages and stuff. I would have probably paid more if you know what I'm saying? Um in under some other circumstances, but for Dynamite, yeah, their comics are just so short. And those Zootopia comics, they're pretty short too, so it's kind of like, yeah. I do have one comic from Zootopia, but that's about it. I don't really have the whole thing like that. But yeah, anyways, let me read some of these comments what Ash is talking about. James Gunn's style is interesting, but I think he should do something differently, or all his work would be exactly like Superman Guardians of the Galaxy. I don't know what to say with James Gunn, to be honest, or where to even begin with that one there. There wasn't a Madagascar 4. Okay, my bad. It was Madagascar 3. Yeah, yeah, that's right. King Julian, he did have a show. Only a Julian show and a show about baby main cast, like similar spinoff about Looney Tunes and Tom and Jerry. Yeah, but you get the point. Like, yeah, but it still had like spinoffs and stuff. And I'm like, man, that's what I wish that they would have done with Zootopia and stuff. That would have been interesting and stuff. Because I feel like these characters were like so good, in my opinion, or like just so it would feel like a waste to not like do anything more with them. That's just how I personally feel. Imru attacked by a fan at con. I don't know who is that. If you're sympathetic Black Queen. But yeah, and let me play the second trailer that recently came out because this is the one that came out 2 months ago. All right, this is the other one. Then you got Idris Elba coming back, um, and whatnot. So yeah, there's that. Finnick. You know, the little fun fact about Phoenix though is that despite them being like looking like baby foxes and stuff, they never like they grow up, but they don't like and get old, of course. But they always have that like baby face look, you know. So that's the irony there. A Twitch uh, can or a Twitch con as cosplayer Inru was attacked. Oh, that's terrible. I don't really know what more to say about that, but that is pretty bad. I hope he's okay though, and you know, but that's the best I can really say at that moment. See, look at the car. Oh, man, I messed up. Hang on. You saw how like that car was made specifically for them and whatnot. That's what I'm saying, like about animation and stuff. Whereas if it was like, oh, you know, you got elephants or hippos or whatever in this universe and stuff, you know, of course they would probably drive a bigger car or something like that. Or you have something that's smaller, they'll be driving those little toy race cars and all that stuff. See, Clawhauser, Gazelle, probably gonna have another banger because I was just checking out that one song, "Try Everything." Yeah, should have definitely listened to more of that song. But yeah, try everything. Oh. See, look at that little chair. The polar bears, like, come on. Like, it's a well animated movie. Will this movie specifically make $1 billion? I don't know. Like it did last time. Again, I don't know. But I hope it definitely turns out to be a box office success, or this is going to be a good movie. Oh yeah, and the guy that's playing Gary, I heard his actor. I can't remember his name, but yeah, low key, his actor does look like Jackie Chan though. If you actually like searched him up, so I heard that this is supposed to be like the new mayor or something. That's probably my only criticism right now is like the mayor guy being probably the villain of the movie, which was kind of the plot from the last movie where, you know, the two mayors, one was voiced by J.K. Simmons and the other one was like a sheep or something and whatnot, and she was the main villain. Um, yeah, like some of those characters. Yeah, so now we're doing the whole mayor thing again. But I get it though. Sometimes you know it's interesting to fight a character that's like, oh, he's the big boss and he controls the town and he can easily turn everything against you and all that stuff. But yeah, I'm gonna say this though, I'll probably get more of a laugh at a Zootopia than I will with James Gunn's movies. Because I mean, like I said, Zootopia, I mean, or these shows and stuff, they know how to balance out comedy, and they know how to like make sure you're taking the character seriously. Oh yeah, and they're definitely exploring new territory with some of these characters and stuff. Since now they're introducing reptiles into the mix. Um, but yeah, and their lifestyle, this the countryside of things. You see how all this water is there, like you know. I know I'm trying to sound like I'm an expert at this, but I'm just saying like, yeah, all that stuff, a lot or some little details that people just don't think about. These little water tubes just being in the middle of the city. We don't have water tubes in the middle of the city like that, but it's there and it works in the world, right? And like I said, here's where we get to the reptiles and stuff and how they fit inside the Zootopia world, what's their history and all that. And now that I think about it, it kind of reminds me a little bit of Beastars too. I actually did enjoy Beastars as well. Um, I did not watch the recent season, but I already finished reading up the manga, so I already know what's going to happen and what to expect. Because I was so like absorbed with the story of Beastars, I'm like, you know what, I gotta keep reading this, or I gotta keep knowing what's happening, you know. But yeah, forget to mention, yeah, Transformers Armada Starscream was tragic because he wasn't his typical self, but rather the only very of the character acting like Zuko. Okay, kind of like a buddy cop film. Yeah, that's what Zootopia is. It's always like a buddy. It's a buddy cop film and all that. Um, and again, it's a kids movie too, so they're definitely going to simplify things a little bit. I know some people might be on like, "Oh my God, it's woke because of the prejudice theme or whatever that they had from the first movie," and that might carry on to this next movie, where instead of it being about apex predators and stuff, it's going to be probably about reptiles and all that. Um, okay, but I think they handle it pretty well. Well, they don't just like beat you over the head with it like they be doing. Like, yeah, I hope it won't turn out that way, but that's just me. Yeah, it's like a kid-friendly version of Beastars, Fierce Empathetic Black Queen. Yeah, Beastars is wild, which is ironic too because Paru Itagaki, she's the daughter of the guy that created Baki and stuff. And I've never like I haven't watched Baki yet, but Baki is a wild show. Or I've seen like clips and stuff of Baki, and yeah, and for what I've been hearing, Baki is pretty wild. But yeah, so yeah, that's just some stuff that I'm looking forward to. But I'm just like, why is people like dunking on some of this stuff? I'm like, come on, we need more things to be excited about or to be more like I don't know enthusiastic about and all that than just tearing things down and stuff. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, Nick and Judy are Wolf and Bunny. Yeah, like Legoshi and not yeah, Legoshi and Haru. I almost said Paru, which is ironic because I mean because Paru Itagaki is the name of the creator that created Beastars, but she based the rabbit character Haru slightly off of herself, just changed the name to like Haru, which means spring. So yeah, but yeah, Legoshi and Haru and stuff. Yeah, although Judy and Nick's relationship is more like you can leave that however you want, whether it be a romantic, like a romance between them, or it could be platonic, or you know, well, they're definitely great friends and stuff, of course. But yeah, but with Legoshi and Haru, it's definitely different between them. But anyways, but yeah. So I mean, because this year, I mean, we had some movies like Ballerina and stuff. People were like, "Oh, I don't want to watch Ballerina and stuff because it's probably woke, female lead and stuff." And don't get me wrong, I get that they destroyed the whole female leads and stuff inside movies nowadays because of the crap that they've been trying to do to put down men and be like preach about female empowerment and stuff. But yeah, that's why Ballerina kind of failed, even though it was a really great movie. But yeah, Jurassic World. People were. I never really got why people crapped on Jurassic World so hard because I'm just like I saw it and I was like, yeah, it's not a bad movie. I thought it was all right. I liked it. My family liked it. It was a good movie, like a good summer movie, you know. So I'm like, I just don't get it. I mean, Fantastic Four and Superman, yeah, I have more reasons to be cynical there because they're taking like characters that have been around for like you know almost like well for almost a century just about because Fantastic Four has been around for like 60 years. Superman's been around for like what like 87 at this point. And they like bastardize some of those characters and stuff, or I don't know, made like dumb changes. So I understand like the cynical nature with that one, but Jurassic World, I'm just like, yeah. And I'm not a huge Jurassic Park fan myself, but I'm just saying like, oh, yeah, I thought the movie was pretty solid and well acted and stuff, and again, looked visually great too. Nick and Judy are Wolf and Bunny from Beastars. Yeah, Legoshi and Haru, which I like. I do like that name Legoshi, but yeah, but Legoshi, and even if you look at my banner on my main channel, which I need to change, I have Legoshi in the background. But yeah, I like Legoshi's name though because Paru, she mentioned because I read the mangas, of course. She was saying that she based Legoshi off of this like she used to be a fan of like vampire movies and stuff, and I think there was an old vampire movie she saw where the vampire was named like Legoshi, so she took that name and kind of gave it to the wolf character. So yeah. Although I gotta say, man, Legoshi got he got it rough. Like every time something is always like if you watch Beastars and stuff, Legoshi, man, something crazy always happens to him, or he puts himself in some crazy situation. I don't even know what to do with it. Um, like I leg because his friend offered him the leg. You have to watch the show to get some context on that one. Um, he what happened? He dropped out of school. Uh, Spoilers in case you guys haven't don't know the ending of Beastars, but Legoshi loses his ear, like it loses a part of his ear and whatnot. What else is just crazy has just happened to Legoshi? His mom committed suicide when he was a kid, so he lives with his grandpa, and then started living at the Sheridan Academy and all that stuff. But yeah, yeah, he doesn't know his dad, which his dad is alive, but he doesn't know his dad because his mom. Well, I'm not going to go into the details right now. You can watch the show for yourself. But yeah, it's just like man, Legoshi got it rough, man. He got it. He's doing like a whole lot. But yeah, you are a fox or a wolf person. I like both, but I think I like foxes more than wolves, or I think I'm more of a kin. But yeah, but don't get me wrong, I do love wolves to myself. It's a little bit debatable, but for me, I think I'm more like I'm more into like I like foxes more than wolves per se, or they just resonate with me more. To put it in another way, I wonder what if my fellow YouTuber would do to me since I've offered Sonic OVA, and we wish you a oh god, Turo Christmas in one movie stream. I don't even know what he would do, unless you're talking about me specifically. But I don't know. And then of course, so yeah. And then on top of that, you got people also with the fake outrage thing, crapping on Gal Gadot, which I never really understand, like why people like crapping on Gal Gadot so much. So like, oh well, her acting's bad. Really, I never really noticed, or I never really like it's kind of ironic how people. I know I'm randomly bringing up Gal Gadot because I'm just this is part of my fake outrage topics and stuff. But like I never really saw her as like that bad of an actress or anything. Like it's just kind of like out of nowhere or out of the blue now this specific year where I started seeing people be like, "Oh, well, she's a terrible actress. She's a terrible actress." Funny, I didn't hear that back when Wonder Woman came out or Justice League or anything else until now because of all this Palestine stuff going on in Israel and all that. But that's a new one. For me, I'm used to be an Egyptian jackal and but I'll talk more about the Gal Gadot thing later. I'm just referring to some of my notes that I'm looking through that I wanted kind of to talk about, but I'll probably save that for another time. Who knows? Especially Anubis. Yep, Anubis, the god of death and stuff. Um, because jackals back inside ancient Egypt, they used to like um, you know, dogs and stuff are more so like scavengers and stuff. And obviously, if something's dead or whatever, they're going to eat that dead thing if it means to ensure their survival. So, jackals are definitely known for doing that. And they're usually seen around a lot of bones and stuff. So then they got the idea of like, what if jackals are like the gods of death and stuff, and Anubis and all that was the god. Yeah, yeah, I know. Jackals are a part of the canine family. No actor would be as bad as Megan Fox, even though I think she was mostly fine in the first Transformers movie in 2014 TMNT. I don't know about that, Ashes. I don't know. I mean, it's not that I have a problem with her acting in 2014 as far as the Turtles movie, but it's just that she just wasn't a good cast. Like you casted Megan Fox to play April. I'm like, what about Megan Fox screams April O'Neil? She's not redheaded. She's not a brunette, at least. None of that stuff. She's just, oh, well, she's attractive. She's hot. Um, and she is, don't get me wrong, but that's really about it. Like, I don't get April from her. And then, I know because recently, too, they had just put Megan Fox inside, like, what was it? Five Nights at Freddy's. and stuff where she's voicing an animatronic. I think it was the little Chica one or whatever. I don't play Five Nights at Freddy's, so I can't tell you all the characters like that. But yeah, she's voicing her, and everybody's like, "Oh, great, Megan Fox is back, voice acting." you know, even though Megan Fox destroyed Nitara as a character, and if you know, like, if you really know like Mortal Kombat deep like that, Nitara was a character that was introduced in like Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance and stuff, and she was an okay character. She had a lot of potential, but they just never really utilized that character for a while, and she was always like in the background and stuff like that or whatever. And then recently, when they try to do a little bit more with Nintara, they make her a villain, even though she's more of a neutral character. She's a sidekick or something. Like she was a sidekick to Shang Tsung in that recent Mortal Kombat movie and whatnot that came out a couple years ago, where she got killed easily by Kung Lao, cut in half, and didn't look anything like Nitara. And then here we have Megan Fox portraying Nitara or voicing Nitara in Mortal Kombat 1, and Megan Fox sounds like she's sleep talking or sleep reading or whatever through her lines. Like, oh God. So yeah, everybody's roasting Megan Fox right now, and we're like, all right, we don't care about these celebrities like that, like you think we do. Megan Fox is going to be Chica. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like she's going to be like, I heard about that too. She's going to be Chica in the new Five Nights at Freddy's thing, and I'm like, you guys stop casting Megan Fox. I don't know what kind of pool she got on you guys, but she's not as good as you think she is. But yeah. Um, but yeah, so what else do I want to talk about? I'm gonna give that one a like, by the way. I know I stopped sharing the screen after that. Um, what to do? What to do? Come on, guys, make some noise. It's Megan Fox, people. Yeah, right. Yeah, no, I think we're good. Hmm. Winx Club. I'm not gonna lie to you, Fierce Empathetic Black Queen. I have yet to watch Winx Club, and that's not because I thought it was a bad show or I think it's a bad show or anything. I am interested in watching it, but I just never seen it because, well, growing up as a boy, you're kind of like, um, well, you don't want to check out a lot of girly stuff like that. Even though I was kind of into like Powerpuff Girls and Totally Spies and all that, and a little bit of Kim Possible, but I was into those shows, but some shows you're like, I think I'm good, or well, that's for girls, and I'm a guy, so yeah. I watched the Wings Club reboot. Magic is back. It's terrible. I've heard. To me, which is much better and more dramatic than Wings Club. Yeah, I need to watch Witch too. What were you saying about? Speaking of voice actors, I hope Greg Sipes is doing well with his Otis. It is really dirty how DC threw him out. Yeah, it is. It is definitely terrible. Breaking free from the door. So I'm reading something my dad just sent me, but I want to check that out later. But anyways, yeah, it is kind of terrible and garbage how like DC, like I mean, I get that you probably don't want to like you might want to recast if Greg Stipes' like illness is affecting his performance and stuff. I definitely do get that, but I think you should also like at least try to meet the actor halfway and like try to at least take care of him or compensate him in some kind of way because I'm like, yeah, I mean this has been a guy that's been kind of working for you guys since like 2003. It's been like 22 years that Greg Sides has worked for Carson Network, right? As Beast Boy, and then he's done other things too, as like Michelangelo, Kevin Levin and stuff. Which Ben 10 is also a show that was on Cartoon Network and stuff. So it's kind of like wow, like this is how you guys treat your voice actors and stuff. So it's a good thing how some of the fans are definitely coming. If I can just pull up your comment, which is now there it is. How you doing tonight? Hope you're having a good night and stuff. Just chilling. Yeah. Recommend reaction to Wings Club is packed. Nope. I'm good. I'm good. There's a pathetic Black Queen. I'm good. Let's see. what should I talk about? I'm looking at my other channel right now where I watch some things on there too. Um, and honestly, I'm kind of liking what I see on my recommendations on that one compared to my main account here. Because here is mostly like me looking at like, oh, cultural war stuff and all that. And I kind of want to like, sometimes you just need a break from all that stuff and you just need to check out like, you know, stuff like this or stuff that's just like, I don't know. Black Queen. I wanted Teen Titans to go end it now. This is tiring. Yeah, yeah, we all want that to end for sure. Like we all really want that show to end. I'm not gonna deny it. I'm not gonna lie to you. Yeah, we all want that show to end. Um, it shouldn't have ran as long as it did. I don't know why they continued with that whole thing, but it is what it is. Yeah, yeah. Maybe it's probably a sign to just end Teen Titans Go because I don't think really anyone's really watching that show like that, and it's probably like one of those few things that's carrying Cartoon Network right now. Oh, Steven, what's happening, bro? Agreed. I want Harley Quinn to end first though, because Teen Titans Go at least makes me laugh. Okay, or made me laugh. Yeah. Speaking of which, Steven, now that you're here, I'm pretty sure because you follow me on Instagram and all that stuff. So I guess I can show you in the meantime what I've been doing for Inktober and whatnot to you guys and what I have so far while I try to figure out what exactly to show you guys visually. Well, this would also count as visually too, but you know. Hmm. Sune. For a second, I thought I was about to sign in. And by the way, I mean, I recently did get a dog. Well, not me specifically, but my family just got a dog, family dog and stuff. She's not here currently because she's with her other owner, but we kind of share this dog and whatnot. She's here with us for the week. Um, so I'm starting to understand what it's like to have a dog, I guess, for the first time because I've never really had like, because when I was growing up as a kid, I always had like fish as pets and stuff. I've never actually had like a dog like I wanted or something. Another close example is I did have well, I didn't specifically myself have a rabbit. My Nana had a rabbit, and whenever I would go over to her house on the weekends and stuff, well, there he is. Is this the right account? No. God damn it. Sorry, I have two accounts and I signed into the wrong one. But yeah, so learning how to take care of a dog, which isn't too bad because this one, like, she's not really like that bad. I mean, she is kind of like, yeah, eh. She's not really a huge fan of me though, per se, because I'm not the one that really babies her like everyone else. I'm just like, oh, I'm not. I don't feel like doing all that. But yeah, nice to have you around, or welcome aboard. This is getting annoying. At some point, I might just probably just go on my what's his face, DeviantArt, and show you guys. Yeah, might as well just try DeviantArt. So, what are you guys saying now? Oops, hang on. Teen Titans Go and Harley Quinn are a huge stain on DC. Yeah, Harley Quinn. Well, actually, to be honest with me, both of those shows are currently forgettable because it's like it's really like something that's just really like on the back, like it's on the what is it, the back burner of my mind when it comes to like DC animations and stuff. I'm like, wow. Well, at least with Teen Titans Go, I'm like, wow, that show actually is still going. And then Harley Quinn, yeah, I forget that show is still around too. Where I'm like, wait, Harley Quinn is still going, even though, yeah, like because they'll announce like, oh, next season of Harley Quinn, and I'm like, oh great, the show is still going, and then it gets worse every season. Oh, Harley and Ivy are now and Ido and stuff. They're together. Now this is going to be about Nightwing's ass. Even though yes, I get that there's sort of a joke in the comics about Nightwing's butt or whatever. It's a thing because he's very acrobatic and stuff, and it's Nightwing. Um, as a straight man, I kind of don't want to. Excuse me. I don't want to really think of Nightwing in that manner. I just wanted to see him kind of kick some ass. That's all. But yeah, it was a whole lot. You want to see DC Peacemaker? We could probably talk about that for a little bit. I don't plan on watching it, but I know it's awful. Oh yeah, I only saw the first episode. As I already told you that, anyways. Um, I didn't really bother to watch it. I'll probably check it out. Maybe at some point. I just don't want it to contribute to like right now what's going on, as far as like, oh, it's like as far as like, oh, they're counting the ratings and stuff, and I'm like, nope, I'm not going to be counting a part of that. And honestly, if you have time to watch Peacemaker, you have time to watch One Piece. Like how people be like, well, I just can't watch One Piece because it's just too damn long. But you can watch something as stupid as Peacemaker. Come on, One Piece is better written, better characters, more likable characters, good backstories, good actors and stuff. Like, come on. You have time to watch One Piece. You don't got time to watch Peacemaker with that type of slop for like 30 to 40 something minutes. What kind of dog breed? So the new family dog, she's a pit bull, a white pit bull with a brown spot on her eye, and that's about it. She honestly looks more like Crypto than the dog that she had in. I mean, than the dog that they had in what's his face in that Superman movie. What's happening, Jay Leno? What's going on, dude? Oh man. Peacemaker season 2, episode 6 of not too boring ass plot. Yeah. Jonan, I'm glad I caught you live in 8K. Oh, or 800 really. But yeah, by the way, yeah, I forgot to even say that too. Congratulations, Dr. Hino, for making 100 subscribers, bro. If you guys are interested, check out Dr. Hino. He does manga dubs and all that stuff. And of course, he got his series and stuff. Knights Fall Eldritch. And of course, he's got his little nun cat girl, Zen, if I'm not mistaken, and then the Beastly Shepherd and all that. Yeah. And then currently he's working on a story right now with, if I'm not mistaken, a succubus character. So, yeah. So I definitely enjoy watching your videos. It definitely helps me get more in a creative mindset. But I definitely want to talk later, though. Well, that's not code for I want to end this stream. That's just code for, yeah, we'll talk later. Definitely about that at some point. What's your Peacemaker season 2 opening? I'll talk about that later. Raven fan here. Nice. Yeah, I've been reading some of new. I was reading New Titans. Speaking of which, Jay Leno, not recently, but I think earlier this year. And man, I'm learning all crazy types of things about Raven and stuff. Nothing like saying that in a bad way, but just like wow. This is interesting. Glad I never watched Peacemaker and won't, but that's mainly because I still cling to WWE well, I guess you mean superstar John Cena, and don't want to see him in rubbish. His final WWE run was bad enough. Ouch. I mean, yeah, I used to be a huge John Cena fan myself back when I was a kid. There was a phase where I was into like WWE and wrestling and stuff for a bit. And of course, John Cena was one of my favorite wrestlers, along with like Kofi Kingston, Rey Mysterio, The Edge and stuff. I thought he was kind of funny. Um, so on and so forth. There was a lot of wrestlers, but yeah. The Undertaker, Kane, so on and so forth. But yeah, yeah. So when I saw him in like the second Suicide Squad movie, I was like, oh, John Cena's in here. Never had thought about that. And then he did all that stuff in there. I was like, yeah, I don't want to see a show about Peacemaker because like at that point, I was like, he's kind of a villain, But then but I did see Peacemaker season 1 last month, so yeah, I'm not really impressed like that, but it is what it is. The Harley Quinn show is an Adult Swim meets DC. Yeah, it does feel like that. Well, like kind of like a Family Guy. Like I don't know. In my head, it's like a parody of like it's like a parody of Batman, basically, but just very exaggerated. Thoughts on Kite Man? Never watched it. I heard it's perfect. I don't know about perfect, but yeah, DC sucks. Just sucks in general now. That means dead comics. Yes, it does. Speaking of ass, the creator of yeah, yeah, I know. The creator of Dead or Alive died. Yeah, of Dead or Alive in Ninja Gaiden. Enjoyed his games, and now I'm playing the Ninja Gaiden DS games. They have DS games? Okay. Um, I did actually beat Ninja Gaiden 1, 2, and 3. That was on the Xbox, and then the other ones on the other systems like Xbox 360. And as far as Dead or Alive goes, I do have Dead or Alive 3 on the PS2. Or no, no, my bad. I have Dead or Alive 4. No, no, I'm tripping. Don't you got me lying. I have Dead or Alive 3, I think, or 2 on the PS2. And I think the first time I've ever played Dead or Alive was Dead or Alive 5. But yeah, or it might have been 6. Nope, nope. It's 5. I'm tripping. One Piece has over 300 filler. That's the difference, but I see what you mean. Here's a funny story, SSJ. So I don't think One Piece has 300 episodes of filler. Even though One Piece has like 1,000 something episodes. Um, not too long ago. Well, not I was yeah, it was a long time ago, but a few years ago, I searched up how many filler episodes One Piece had in case I might want to like skip some of them to just get to the main plot. And I found out they only have 100 episodes of filler, right? So think about it: 100 episodes of filler, and the show is 1,000 episodes. That is like 1/10 of filler. So it's not really a whole lot like that. It's mostly like the other portion is mostly just the show or the story itself, the main story. Jelena, the dynamic between Hayate, Kasumi, Ayane does raise some eyebrows. I think they toyed around with that in the movie, but no, nope, nope, nope. They're just they're family. They're just brother, sister, cousin, and all that. Um, Kasumi and Hayate are brother and sister, and Ayane is their half sister slash cousin. Yeah, you heard that right. Because I think Ayane's dad or something had touched their Kasumi and all of them's mom, and yeah, it's kind of messed up. No offense for Pitbull, as my friend had a Pitbull, and I get nervous about. Yeah, don't get. I mean, trust me, she's not this dog isn't really all that like intimidating. She doesn't bark at all or anything. She's fair size. Yeah, no, she's not really that intimidating. She's just very playful and stuff, and sometimes kind of chill. But that's really about all I can summarize about her. Fun fact: the song opening for Peacemaker season 2 was from "Oh Lord" from Foxy Shazam. It was the 2000 song, 2009. I like Peacemaker show season 1 way better. I probably need to watch the differences. I did see season one. I just don't remember the song like that per se. I mean, of course, I remember the dance sequences and all that, but it's just like, rest in peace to the creator of Ninja Gaiden. It feels more like 100, but I'm not into One Piece like that. Yeah, I know what you mean. I'm just saying, like, yeah, it's 100, but like, and then everything else is the main show itself. It's crazy with One Piece. All right, now let me show you. I logged into my account. I'm gonna show you what I've been working on and whatnot. I'm pretty sure a lot of you that follow me on Instagram have already seen my whatchamacallit. Oop. Have already seen my a lot of my drawings and stuff and what I've been working on and whatnot. So let's get to that. So I'm pretty sure you guys remember some of these if you see my YouTube shorts and stuff. Of course, these are my own. This is my original character right here. We'll talk about that another time. You guys remember these from my shorts and stuff, of course. Interjack, Knuckles, Super Knuckles, Superman, Knuckles amalgamation, or Knuckles basically into Superman's costume. Sonic Flash, Silver, Lantern, Shadow of the Bat, Wonder Amy, Cyborg Tails and stuff, all that stuff. And then, of course, I did static because I was trying out digital art on my computer. So I kind of just drew out static and traced it over and just did all this. This is a part of a filler from Instagram. And I kind of liked it so much, I kind of downloaded it because you know how Instagram stories be like when you do a story and then it just disappears or it's expired over time. So I wanted to save this. So I like this image, so I saved it. I decided to I had originally this was like non-colored in, and of course this is from my sketchbook. So I was like, all right, well, we might as well color it in to make my sketchbook good. So I colored it in. This is my static shock drawing that I did and whatnot. I use blue instead of purple because I'm like, you know what? Let me use blue because it's going to be a little bit, I don't know, with purple. And besides, I don't have a whole lot of colors when it comes to purple because I have dark purple and then I have like this lavender orchid looking purple and stuff. So it's like, yeah, let's go with blue. And I think that was the right choice. I drew Vixen at the request of Fierce Sympathetic Black Queen. Nice. I like your art style. Appreciate it. You've been posting on Instagram. Yeah, I definitely have. Yeah, I know. And I appreciate the likes, man. SSJ and Steven and everybody else. I really do. Lucky my friend's dog was friendly, sometimes friendly approaching on me when I get near her. Yeah, like I said, this dog, she's not bad and she doesn't bite or anything or nothing. Not well, actually no. She does bite me, but not like in a aggressive kind of way, just more so like she probably smells the food on my hand and gets all hungry or whatever and tries to like nibble on my hand or my fingers or whatever. Yeah, that's what I think the dog does. But that's why I'm like, all right, well, let me wash my hands to get the food off or the scent of it or something like that. But yeah, but at the request, I drew Vixen by, for Fierce Sympathetic Black Queen. Spike, have a video coming up about that because I recently rewatched X-Men Evolution. Callisto. So Callisto, I'm gonna say this. Callisto is not supposed to be like really a pretty or a good looking character. But when I was rewatching X-Men Evolution, I was like, man, they actually made Callisto look kind of cute. So I drew Callisto and whatnot. So I drew her like this, like how she is in X-Men Evolution. I was like, okay. So yeah. And then this is these black and white drawings are all my Inktober stuff. So for the first time ever, I'm actually following the Inktober prompt because I almost never I usually go off of my own accord when it comes to Inktober stuff. Like last year I did like 3 different Inktobers or something. And I think maybe the year before that or something, I did like digital drawings. I was doing a lot. I always do a lot with Inktober stuff, but this time I'm actually following a prompt because why not? Why not do it the right way? So this here is supposed to be, mustache or whatever. So in case you guys don't know what this is from, there's an anime called Slayers and stuff. Slayers is like one of my favorite animes. and this character is from that. He's a minor character, but his name is Zulf and stuff. He's sort of kind of a bad guy, but he's revealed later to actually be a good guy and whatnot. It's a whole thing, but he's usually like in bandages as this mummy man and stuff like that. But yeah, but Zulf. So he always had this mustache and whatnot, and this is what he looks like without the bandages on. And there was like a scene where he was like one of the first shots of him was like he was just chilling in a bandit camp because he was supposed to steal like the so-called Philosopher's Stone, and well, it was off. And then the main character had attacked him accidentally, and he ended up having to wear the bandages for a while. But yeah, he was just chilling, drinking wine, and all that. So yeah, Zolf. Then of course I got Hinata weave. I had to think of something, so I'm like, So I thought of Hinata knitting, so I just drew her just doing that from I think it was from Naruto the Last, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, then the crown. I kind of thought back to like Natsu because I was thinking like, I think I've seen some stuff like Natsu being all royal and stuff or whatever, or not being royal, but like images of Natsu being a king or something. So I decided, hey, why not draw him like this. So I basically, the little secret is I've been taking my pen work, and then I'm also using my black watercolor marker, and I've been trying to using the black watercolor marker to make these heavier lines or coloring in stuff, and of using the regular pen that I'm using to like draw the outline and all that basically. So that's how I got this. Murky, I had to think of something, so I was like, well, swamps are murky, I guess. So I drew Blanca here and whatnot. I really do like how I drew Blanca and the snake and the tree and everything on this. Yeah, really got down that sharp gaze. And as for Blanca, I was kind of a little iffy on it because I kind of realized when I was drawing the hair and Blanca looking forward and stuff, I'm like, Blanca low-key looks like Guile. I don't know, because Guile doesn't have eyebrows either. And if this was like more like a buzz cut than spiky hair, I'm like, yeah, he would look smack like Guile, or like, yeah, or with the stuff like the hair is like Super Saiyan 3 Goku or something. But yeah, Chopper had to think of something. So like deer, I'm like, well, Chopper's a reindeer, so it counts, So I drew. I like Chopper's horn point form, so I drew him like that. So I was like, oh, why not? So I drew him like that. This was Pierce. I couldn't really think of anything, so I was like, why not Future Trunks cutting Frieza in half? That's piercing, right? That counts. So I drew all that. That stuff turned out pretty good. Starfish, that was that day. So I drew Misty with Staryu. Couldn't really think of anything. So I was like, all right, well, why not Staryu from Pokemon, I guess, and Misty Staryu. Reckless. So I drew an image of Surge threatening Dr. Starline before she passes out when he brainwashed her and all that. Because I'm not gonna lie to you, as much as I like Dr. Starline, I was like, man, this whole plan just seems so reckless. It's like basically you're hinging everything on mind controlling Surge and Kit, and that you've seen time and time and again how they might possibly regain their memories or question their existence or whatever. And I'm like, this can only work for so long, man. So I thought that was pretty reckless. But yeah, I was being a little bit funny here on this one. So heavy. In case you guys don't know, there's a web series called Metal Family and stuff about this rock family and stuff. And this is Heavy. He's their youngest. He's the youngest son of the family and whatnot. So I just drew him because hey, his name is Heavy, right? So why not? But yeah. Then Sweep. So I was like, all right, I need to think of something with Broom. So I drew Kyoko from Maisin Agaku. Kyoko, like Maisin Agaku is a romantic comedy from, and I've talked about it before here on the channel, but it's a romantic comedy that was created by Rumiko Takahashi. It's a pretty good show and whatnot. It's pretty funny in my opinion. But so yeah, and I drew Kyoko and stuff. I remember when I first saw her, I was like, she low-key looks like a fusion of Kagome and Miss Sakura from Yurusei Yatsura a little bit, but that's just me. But yeah, she's like 22 and stuff. In the series and all that. So yeah. Today was like that day was Sting, so I was like, So I knew right away. I was like Sting Chameleon. So I drew Sting Chameleon from Mega Man X. You remember Sting Chameleon is one of the 8 Reploids, and he used to be a kind of a like a maverick hunter before he joined up with Sigma and all that. But yeah, the Sting Chameleon. Then of course Shredded. How can you not draw the Shredder? This is from that Shredder #1 cover and whatnot. This is probably the first time I was using grays during this Inktober challenge and whatnot, because if I made all this black, well, you won't be able to see the lines or all this other stuff around it. So, yeah. Then Mega Man Drink. Originally, I wanted to do Lum from Yudise Yatsura. I was gonna actually do this one part where, um, so Lum gets drunk off of like cherries and stuff. Like her race of Oni get drunk eating cherries and whatnot. And there was an episode where her and her cousin sort of got drunk eating cherries and stuff in school, and there was supposed to be like a scene or something where Lum is like, she grabs this guy named Cherry. She grabs his like he has alcohol and stuff. He brought alcohol to school, and it was implied that Lum didn't drink it, of course, because she's underage, but she was carrying it around. So I was gonna have that as drink, but I was like, nah, it technically doesn't count, and I don't have a good shot of Lum like drinking it or anything, or or holding it. So I was like, all right, well, I'll just draw Mega Man drinking those little energy things that he has, the little tanks and whatnot, because they're kind of like drinks. Then Trunk, I had to think real hard on that one. So I was like, man, what is what can I do for a Trunk? Like, you know what I'm saying? So last minute, I kind of thought, all right, well, why not Link from Legends of Zelda opening up a treasure chest? That's like one of my earlier ideas. And then Ragged, this is the main protagonist from Slayers, one of my favorite anime characters, Lena Inverse. So, and I actually took the time to rewatch the episode too, because it was just too damn funny. But there was an episode where a wedding episode. It was in the first season. It's episode 15, where basically Lena had agreed to like have a fake marriage with this guy to kind of get this sorceress off of this guy's back that was trying to force him to marry one of her daughters and stuff, to kind of take his money. So Lena kind of dressed up and was like, "Oh, well, I'm marrying him and stuff or whatever, and I'm doing it for money." Well, she didn't say I was doing. Well, that's what she was getting paid to do, anyways. And then a lot of stuff happened. You gotta watch the episode. It was just too funny. So I was like, "All right, Ragged it." And I remember like Lena's wedding dress got all messed up, so I drew it like this. And I even added a little shadow to it, because originally I wasn't gonna have shadows around it, but I thought it might kind of give that feeling where, yeah, because her back is supposed to be pressed up against the wall. So I thought, well, and I'm not going to take the time to actually draw all this background right now. So I was like, okay, why not just draw the shadow instead? So I drew a shadow, and it really sells the whole, she got her back pressed up against the wall, science. And then here, Blunder, I got Kagome's old but yeah, and that's what I have uploaded on here, and then the rest I have is on Instagram. I drew Ryu Hayabusa yesterday, and I did a drawing today. Oh yeah, of Jeddah Dome from Darkstalkers, of him in this contract and stuff. I would show you, but it's on my Instagram. So if you guys want to check that out, it's over there. But yeah, but that's pretty much my art for the most part. But again, thank you, SSJ. I see you showing support. Thank you, Taylor. Request drawing of Starfire and Raven from OG Teen Titans. Maybe, maybe. Have you seen Smiling Friends? I've heard of it, but I probably do need to. Yeah, there you go. Request drawing of Shinobu Kuyocho from Demon Slayer. Maybe. I might draw her anyways. I was supposed to draw Demon Slayer characters, but I completely forgot. But maybe I've seen season 3, 2 episodes. I've watched. Wait, they're already on a season 3? Christ. I remember Metal Family. Yeah, my friend had put me onto that. Um, I might even have him on the stream because we were just talking about it. But yeah, not right now, obviously, but like in the future. Still sure Sega will never use anything from IDW in the Prime into games. So all those crying about canon, excuse me, can join Archie, Fleetway, and all of the Sonic Cartoons Club. Nah, Ashes. I mean, well, I don't know about Sonic Prime, but IDW, because Sega has full ownership of like, not of IDW, but has full ownership of the stuff that IDW does, because all the stuff that they do now is kind of canon. But yeah, because some of that stuff we all know that has been referenced in the games as of like as of lately, like Sonic Frontiers. They referenced Tangle. They even referenced Styx, which is weird because Styx is from Sonic Boom. But hey, I'm not against it though. If Styx is now canon and they had revamped her inside the modern stuff, that would be pretty cool. What else? So yeah, they definitely do have their rights over Tangle and Whisper and many other characters and stuff. They just can't like yeah. And I've been wondering why does it take them so long to put out comics and stuff? Because back in the day, like with IDW, or back in like around 2018, 2019, they were putting out comics just like that, like in a timely schedule. But now they have all these delays, and I'm like, man, what is the problem with all these delays? And then I found out, oh, because they had to go through Sega first, or go through like get Sega's approval to look over this before they put it out. And then I'm like, oh, okay. So I completely get it. So that's how it is. So I'm like, all right, makes a lot of sense. But yeah, by now I was explaining all this with whatchamacallit. Hmm. I'm thinking, should I really show you guys the little flat? Yeah, why not? Since I'm here anyways. MK. Actually, yeah, why not watch that one? And yeah, I'll probably play the sound this time to kind of give it a little bit more depth in this video. This is going to be a good old throwback in case anyone remembers. Or, well, I don't know if you guys didn't know this or not, or this is your generational thing, but yeah. So back in the day when I was in like school and stuff, back in like the 2010s and all that, and I was still like a kid, I was like in middle school or whatever, or maybe like almost about to enter middle school, like I was in like 5th grade or something. Stuff like this, where you used to have like flash animations and all that, and we still have that today. But back in the day, like back then, we had like the little Street Fighter versus Mortal Kombat animation and all that stuff, the little flash stuff. I mean, of course, they don't have flash animations anymore because they got rid of the software, so it kind of sucks. There's probably another way of doing it, like you might be able to do with Adobe Animate. Um, but you know how people are when it comes to sprite models and stuff like that or whatever. It's like it's a whole thing. So as you know, I just draw my own stuff out because hand drawn and digitally drawing and all that stuff kind of works for me. And I guess I can, yeah, and that's right. I was going to show you guys what I've been working on lately, but we'll get to that when we get to that. But anyways, this is Mortal Kombat versus DC, the Flash animation. So check it out. Good stuff and classic. And I'm pretty sure, yeah, this came out 14, or this was posted 14 years ago, but who knows? It might have been like a lot longer. Well, maybe a few years longer or something like that. But yeah, this will be like what 2011. This is posted. Honestly, Transformers was best run at IDW, had based on popular IP, didn't go downhill as TMNT, and it showed full horror scale of the Cybertron war. I probably do need to check it out. Like I said, I'm not entirely knowledgeable about Transformers like that. Excuse me, per se. Um, But yeah, I guess they do have some good stuff from IDW. Um, I wouldn't really say TMNT did fall downhill, but in my opinion, I think it was a slow burn for a little while before Sophie Campbell took over, and then I think Sophie Campbell destroyed it, in my opinion. But yeah, and now it's sort of kind of coming back, but gradually though.
Sub-Zero. Batman.
Like remember the days when people used to make stuff like this. Now, before this continues, have I heard of the upcoming Avatar fighting game? Yes, I have. I've seen the trailer for it. Doesn't look bad. It looks pretty cool. I hope they do have those little like how like in fighting games, especially like with Mortal Kombat and stuff, how they have those little character interactions or the introductions and stuff like that. I hope they have that for Avatar. With this fighting game and stuff, and hopefully this will be a good fighting game and stuff, or a good Avatar game because Avatar definitely needs some good games. Like I said, Legends of Korra, say what you will, has the only good game in the series. But anyways, and it's cool too that they're adding in some of the Korra character, like they're adding in the Korra characters as well, because I would feel like it's a little bit like you know like restrictive if you're not going to put in all the characters. We want to see them all like kind of in the same room together. If people like, despite how people might feel about Korra or whatever, I'm just like, well, I would love to see like like oh some of these characters like interact or some of them like go up against each other or stuff like that or play as my favorite character or who knows, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, it looks pretty good so far. Um, I guess the question is also like, will Aang be able to use more than one element? No, because I only noticed that him and Korra were using their native elements. Like Aang was only using, I think, air bending, if I'm not mistaken, and like Korra was only using water bending, and they weren't using their other styles. I'm like, hmm. So is it just like that, or will there be like some kind of like gimmick where you can change the avatars like fighting style from you wanted them to use fire and it'll be a different play style or use water, I mean, or air or earth or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe even metal for Korra's case. That'd be pretty interesting. They put uh, Shyamalan in this game. I won't buy it. Who's that? Or you're talking about M. Night Shyamalan? Sorry, I'm searching that up right now. I'm like, who? Okay, you're just talking about M. Night Shyamalan. Okay. Well, anyways, let's continue.
Superman. Holy shit. Get over here!
Not even Death Battle can make this. That would be cool if they did. Oh man, that reminds me too how they did that Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Blade Death Battle. Bro, I'm not gonna lie. When the actor for Blade, I don't know. I mean, he had a weird voice, but it might be because he had those little vampire things in his mouth is the why he sounded so different. And I'm like, and he got the little dreads too. I'm like, wait. Well, I don't know if Blade ever had dreads in the comics before, but usually Blade always has like a fade or he's bald. I'm like, okay, that's weird, but whatever. But yeah. I'm not gonna lie, I was actually surprised that Buffy won. I was like, because I was like, yeah, Blade's probably gonna beat Buffy because he's got well guns and stuff, you know. Uh, and not to say that Buffy's weak or anything, but I'm like, yeah, because I've been watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and I'm like, yeah, I'm 4 seasons in. I mean, I'm not really finished with the series yet, and I'm pretty sure there's a lot more material out there where Buffy probably has a lot more like better feats and stuff. But I'm like, hmm. But as far as I've seen so far in like season 4, like yeah, for like 4 seasons and Angel, I haven't really seen too much of like what Buffy can do that can top Blade. Then Fierce Seven, like Black Queen says, Blade should have won. He was a vampire immortal. We need Blade movie to come out. We definitely do need the Blade movie to come out. Um, I'm not against the results because again, there are probably things that Buffy can do that we just don't know. Because Death Battle said Buffy had like 124 novels, and I'm like, excuse me, she has 124 novels. I'm like, yeah, Buffy must have some kind of crazy feats or must go through a lot of things. And of course, I'm aware of the comics, but even then, yeah. And then when you think of like Blade and stuff, I mean, don't get me wrong, Blade's a cool character and stuff, and he is in the Marvel universe. So I thought, okay, being in the Marvel universe and having kind of guns and stuff as his arsenal compared to like Buffy, that kind of makes a lot more sense. Or how Buffy's arsenal, like stakes and stuff and knives, that's not really going to kill Blade, but or be effective to take him down. But I'm like, oh, okay, she's got other stuff too in her pocket. I'm like, all right, that's different. But yeah, so I'm just saying, like, okay, so I'm not necessarily against it, but yeah, I can see it. Oh yeah, but as I was saying though with Blade, like yeah, Blade probably doesn't have like a whole lot of comic book appearances like that, despite being a comic book character because you had him in the '70s. He probably might have made a few guest appearances here and there and other stories, and then you got the movies and stuff, and then you become a big star. They tried to do a little bit more with Blade. They probably gave him a comic book run or something like that. What else they do with that character? You know, apparently he had a TV show. I haven't yet watched that yet. but I'm interested. I know it's probably not all that good, but I'm like, hey, can't be the worst thing in the world. And then, I'm pretty sure he had a few comic books and stuff. And then, he's the cause of this whole Marvel event that's going on. What was it? Um, Blood Hunt? Yeah, Blood Hunt. Yeah, he's a part of all that. So, yeah. So I was like, oh, well, I thought he might win. Nope. Anyways, let's get back to this. Yeah, like I said, how do you like? Where do these people even go? Like, what do they do after this? You know what I'm saying? Like, that is crazy. But yeah, I definitely want to appreciate all that as you see my animation. Or that I just have inspired. Yeah, this is stuff I gotta do. Yep. Let me show you guys an old one. Well, actually, not. I'm gonna probably save that for another time, maybe. But I guess we could talk about Peacemaker, and just share a few of my thoughts about like what do I think of Peacemaker. I suppose. Well, might as well play season one. I suppose. Let's go to season one. Jesus, 20 million. Yeah, that's right. I remember this song. I recommend Blade from Marvel Zombies over Miss Marvel. Yeah, he should have been the main character. It was weird. Like, even if like we don't like Miss Marvel and stuff, it's kind of weird anyways that you like not you, Taylor, but I'm talking about like the writers was like, hey, let's go with Miss Marvel as the central character of Marvel Zombies, the show. Like, even if we don't like Miss Marvel, or even if let's say she was a good character or not, or a bad character, which she is, she's kind of just a pointless character. Even when we said all that about Kamala Khan, why did you think that it would be a good idea to choose her as the central protagonist of Marvel Zombies when, like, because she's a more of a lighthearted character and stuff, or, it's like, it's so weird. Yeah, like, it's just weird that you chose Kamala Khan when she doesn't, like, she's a very optimistic and a lighthearted character, like, even with, let's say, Spider-Man. I like Spider-Man, right? But it would be weird to have Spider-Man as, like, the main central character of Marvel Zombies, you know what I'm saying? And not use a character like Blade or Wolverine or, I don't know, Nightcrawler even, Nightcrawler is half demon. So that would be pretty interesting to use him as a character. Magic, somebody. But yeah, and I know those are X-Men characters and they didn't have the rights and all that other stuff. But I'm just saying, like, at least try to meet us halfway. Moon Knight, you could have put him in the show. And he could have teamed up with Blade, and they could have been going around killing killing zombies. That would have been interesting. But anyways, nope. We just didn't get that right. Which more stories with explaining Joker's fighting skill outside of 2004 show I can't really accept. He can go toe to toe with Batman in combat. Well, the thing about the Joker is that how do I put this about the Joker's thing? Because let me talk about his intelligence real quick, because Joker, as far as his intelligence goes, is kind of a little bit slept on, a little bit, because the Joker, even though he's dressed up as a clown and all this other stuff, and he's a mass murderer and all this other stuff, he is an engineer and whatnot, and he's gone around, he's created like all wacky, gadgets and inventions and stuff to like, you know, count, like as opposed to like Batman or whatever and stuff like that, and it gives him trouble. Um, it's not like he can't fight either, because you know he takes advantage of the fact that he dresses like a clown or he looks like an idiot and stuff like that to like throw his opponent off their game. So he usually, like, Joker is more of a dirty fighter, so he's gonna pull out, you know, all the tricks, all the gimmicks and stuff or whatever. And again, he's killed various people, so of course, you know, a killer is gonna know how to fight. She's so annoying. She acting zombie apocalypse, not very traumatized or serious. Like, they kind of do that thing where they're kind of having like some kind of anxiety attack or something. That's kind of how I would say how Kamala Khan had dealt with the whole Marvel Zombies thing. But it's just like, honestly, it just didn't make sense to like use that character per se, or specifically to be like, oh, this is the representation for Marvel Zombies. Like, no. With how atrocious Marvel Zombie was, Marvel will be dead again for a while. Yeah, I don't know what they're gonna do. I mean, that just felt like, because you know, me and SSJ, in case anybody doesn't know, we were on Jay Leno's stream talking about it, and you know, I didn't know because Bundle had brought it up, the God of Truth and all that. Bundle was talking about how it was a scrap project from 2019 or whatever, so that's why a lot of this stuff is just now getting used. So it's like, oh, they had 4 episodes, so they were like, well, we might as well just randomly put this out. So that's what it felt like, and it's like it was unfinished, it was rushed, and all this other stuff. And I'm like, okay, that makes a lot of sense. But yeah, that just feels like what they're doing. They have a lot of stuff that's in like department hell, and just like Ironheart or this, they're probably just gonna like, you know, bring it back for a little bit and just be like, oh, okay, well, here it is, enjoy, you know, instead of like, I don't know, at least try to develop it more. Or maybe just scrap it all together. But it is what it is. But anyways, Peacemaker. So what do I personally think about it? Like I said, I don't really care about Peacemaker like that. Like when I saw Suicide Squad. Now, granted, I do actually like the first Suicide Squad movie and whatnot. I never really understood the hate for it per se. I saw it back when I was like, I think 17 or something when it came out. Well, 2016 when it came out, I was like 17 years old at the time, and I enjoyed it. I was like, oh yeah, it's a pretty good movie and stuff. I liked, you know, yeah, like everything about it, I guess. Well, not everything about it, but I thought it was all right. Is it my favorite superhero type movie? Not exactly, no, but it was what it was on that one. And then when we get to Suicide Squad 2, I didn't hate it. Yeah, I think it came out on, what was it? Might have been like Thanksgiving or Christmas or something. I remember it came out on one of those holidays because I saw it with my family on, and this is during the lockdowns and stuff because of, you know, the virus. So we watched it from home instead of the theaters. I was like, oh well, my family's probably going to enjoy it more than me because they like the Guardians of the Galaxy style kind of humor and stuff. I'm like, I don't really like the humor inside. Yeah, and then I saw it and I was like, oh, I didn't think it was half bad. It's not, again, not all that great, but yeah, my family, they hated that movie. I was like, wait, you guys like Birds of Prey, but you hated this? Crazy, I know, but it is what it is. But yeah, but that movie just, yeah. So Peacemaker, you know, as you know, he was from that Suicide Squad 2 movie and stuff, right? And I was like, well, why would you give Peacemaker a show? I mean, weren't we not rooting against him in that second Suicide Squad movie? Hell, I wanted Rick Flag to kind of kill him and stuff because, you know, he was trying to do the right thing. He was trying to expose Amanda Waller and so on and so forth. And then Peacemaker killed him to cover him up and then turned into a bad guy and all this other stuff. And now you just give him a show. And I'm like, okay, I don't know why he deserves a show, but go on, I guess. Then they did their show and all this stuff. The show was like kind of a comedy and all this other weird stuff. Yeah. Let me read some of these comments. No, like in real life, most serial killers don't know how to fight. So that's why the target weaker preys like women and children. I think Joker's the same type. Well, not really. I mean, Joker, he has killed a lot of people and stuff. Again, we know how many people Joker's killed. And on top of that, some stories, like I'm gonna use like let's say the Tim Burton Batman or Batman animated series. You know, Joker has a gangster background and stuff, so you know he's been a hitman and stuff like that from time to time. So yeah, he should know how to fight. You know, and especially since he's had years of going up against Batman. I'm not saying he's as skilled as Batman, of course he's not, but he's very unpredictable and he's like very like, oh, he's got that experience and whatnot, or somehow like a little bit more of an edge compared to most villains. So let's say like, yeah, it's just another excuse. They need to start scrapping stuff like that trash Wonder Man. Yeah, yeah, they definitely do. Or they're probably just putting out content because they need something to put out there. But yeah, they definitely need to scrap that. And that Wonder Man thing, man. You were young. Get the film another watch. It's not a good film, but it's not the worst ever. Yeah, I was young. Yeah, I mean, SSJ, I'm not gonna lie to you. I even saw what was it, Justice League, the Whedon cut when I was like again around teenager age. I was like probably like 18 when I saw it or whatever. And at first I thought, the movie was okay, but then I look back on some of the clips on some of like from the Josh Whedon cut, and I'm like, oh god, this was pretty bad after all. So I don't know. That'd be yeah, but I don't know. I'll probably rewatch it at some point. But I don't think that movie was all that bad per se. But yeah, I mean, I definitely remember the whole Joker stuff. The only thing I just didn't like about how they handled Joker inside that movie was that they had him too obsessed or too hung up over Harley Quinn. That's my main problem because you know we all know how the Joker is, and he's very abusive and toxic towards her. I'm like, no, we need that. That gives it more layers, more depth, you know. But anyways, Peacemaker. Then they made Vigilante, like Deadpool or whatever. It was weird and all that. And again, more moments where they just couldn't like really take the character seriously. I will say though, these costumes definitely are on point, and they definitely do like look like something straight out of a comic book. So that's at least points to them on that one. But I'm just thinking back because I just saw season one like a month or two ago and stuff. Probably like yeah, like 2 months ago. I don't know, but Jesus, what was I about to say? Yeah, like I remember there's this one scene where like Peacemaker basically he cries himself to sleep or whatever, and Vigilante walked in and saw him crying himself to sleep. He's like, I don't cry, I'm just doing face exercises. And then later on, when he kills his dad or whatever, he has a mental breakdown. He's crying and stuff. Vigilante's all like, "Oh, are you doing? This is now is not the time to be doing face exercises." And I'm like, "Oh my god, that's not funny." And that's the same type of thing that I have a problem with, like Rise too, Rise of the TMNT, where a serious moment happens and then it's undercut with a joke. You know what I'm saying? Like, and they do this a lot now with a lot of the modern day stuff, which is annoying. But yeah, everyone in Marvel Zombies were worthless and cringe. I wish they made Blade the main character on the series. Yeah, they should have. It would have made better sense than Kamala Khan. The Josh Whedon Justice League was awful. The Snyder Cut all the way. Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, that Josh Whedon thing. Like I said, I didn't hate it at first. When I first watched it, I was like, oh, it's whatever. But I mean, well, of course, I hated Ezra Miller, like with the whole like, oh, they casted this guy as the Flash because you know he was like kind of like the generic quirky sidekick dialed to an 11. That's how I felt about the character, and then the actor turned into a complete weirdo, and I was like, oh wow. That's even worse. So yeah, it was a lot. But anyways, but yeah, definitely the Snyder Cut. Facts. I hated the cast for Marvel Zombies. Yeah, but yeah, like I said, I just have a problem because Peacemaker is definitely one of those like shows that does like that whole thing where there's a serious moment that's happening with the character, and then it's undercut with a joke, and that's also some of the stuff that I had a problem with that Superman movie by James Gunn recently, where Superman's trying to have a heart-to-heart talk with Lois or whatever, which is kind of dumb because I'm like, bro, you're getting this. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love dogs too, but you're getting this emotional over a dog, and I'm like, so. And one of my patches would be for that Superman movie is instead of Superman just turning himself in to get his dog back, why didn't he just like, and how people were complaining about, well, there's not enough Clark Kent. Why didn't he just like, I don't know, just go undercover as Clark Kent to try and investigate Luthor and then figure out what happened to Crypto and all this other stuff and maybe all this missing persons cases or missing people like cases and all that stuff that's open, and then bam, that would have been a lot more of a better story in my opinion than just he turns himself in for the greater good and he's completely at Lex's mercy or he's got him right where he wants him. It's like, come on. But anyways, sorry, I kind of branched off talking about Superman, but this Peacemaker thing. But my point is though, is like in that scene where they're like having a heart-to-heart talk and stuff, there was like a alien thing in the background or something, and the Justice Gang was like fighting them and all this other stuff, and I'm like, really? Like he's not gonna, like, I don't know, try to stop the thing or whatever in his own yard? Like, come on, bro, this is your city, not Hawk Girls, not Guy Gardner's, not Mr. Terrific. Well, actually, no, I think I looked it up online. It is kind of Hawk Girl City a little bit, but not. But come on, you're supposed to be Metropolis' champion, right? So why aren't you doing something about that? Like, you're just at home on the couch mopey. Oh, the cool kids didn't want to play with me. I will say it's unique though. I think this is that dude that James Gunn casted as like the High Evolutionary and stuff from Guardians of the Galaxy. I was not like from Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I saw the movie Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I don't hate it again, but I will say one of the weakest parts for me in that third movie was the High Evolutionary. I felt like the actor was just overacting like way too much, in my opinion. Like I'm just like, God, please just stop. Or he had to like get down low to try and talk down to Rocket Raccoon, and I was like, bro, just stop. Like I could not take him seriously as a villain. He was just so goofy, and now people are talking about he might be Brainiac. Please do not cast him as Brainiac. Please just do not cast him as Brainiac. Oh God! And then this is Amelia Harcourt or Harcourt, yeah, Harcourt, not hardcore, but whatever, aka James Gunn's wife. And people thought that one dude that used to direct those Resident Evil movies and stuff that casted Alice in all those movies and stuff, which I would think that was his wife, by the way. You thought that was bad. Yeah. And I'm not gonna lie, if I was James Gunn and I was directing this and this is my wife as an actress, I would not have my wife as the not only I would not have her as the female lead, but I would definitely not have her as the love interest as to the main character of John Cena. I'm like, why? Why would you do that? Like, why would you do that to yourself? And James Gunn, people are talking about this clip about him because James Gunn's been doing podcasts and stuff like that about Peacemaker episodes, about him reviewing it and stuff and talking about his thought process and stuff, which normally under normal I can't speak. Normal circumstances, I do kind of like some of those type of things, but not in this case because I'm not a fan of Peacemaker or James Gunn. But it's weird how you cast your wife as the female lead for a character that's not even all that important anyways, to be the love interest to the main character, John Cena, where they have kiss scenes and all this other stuff or whatever, or pseudo kind of sex scenes and all that. And I'm like, really? Your wife? Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm like, no. I understand that sometimes if she's like as an actress and stuff, there might have to be scenes where she might have to like, kiss another man and stuff. Then I can kind of like maybe kind of had to come to peace on that one and just be like, all right. But if I'm directing it, I'm not going to put her in there myself. Like, no, you're kind of cucking yourself, dude. But that's weird. Let's see. Season 2 opening of Peacemaker. Yeah, I'm gonna probably play that in a second. To be fair, show being all dark and serious doesn't automatically guarantee it will be good. I mean, I watched Transformers Prime, the show, which regarded as the best in most moments, made me snore. I don't know what to say to that. Yeah, I mean, not to say that dark and gritty always works, but it does kind of make it doesn't like it's something that we kind of gravitate to, like compared to like the opposite, like Goofy, Kitty, and stuff. It's not like I want a dark and gritty Shark Boy and Lava Girl. Like, no, I won't. Like, I'm like, I know what I'm expecting with Shark Boy and Lava Girl at least, or Spy Kids. But if I'm watching like I don't know, what's something that's dark and gritty, like I don't know, Blade or Wolverine or something like that. Of course, I want it to be dark and gritty or something, or a little bit more, brutal. Those Resident Evil movies were terrible. I couldn't stand any of them. Coming from a huge game fan, yeah, I still back when I was a kid and I was starting to get into Resident Evil, I actually kind of liked some of those movies, mostly Apocalypse, because it was like it was kind of adapted based off of Resident Evil 3, well 2 and 3, and Resident Evil Afterlife, mainly because it only had that cool Wesker fight scene and all that they took from the video games. But yeah, casted the cast looked really great and looked like very accurate to the characters. But yeah, but those movies though, yeah, man, yeah, those movies, like I look back on them and I'm like, wow, this is pretty, wow, this is pretty bad. And it was a waste too, because it's like, wait, so you guys made Alice the main character and stuff, which is the director's wife, but not following, I don't know, characters like Jill, which the actress that played Jill in Resident Evil 3 and what was that one? Revolution, I think, or whatever. Whatever. She was really good. She looked like Jill and everything. I'm like, wow, that is such a waste. So I definitely want to do a tribute to her. I mean, she's alive and all that stuff. Don't get me wrong, but I want to do a tribute to her because she deserved it. She really pulled off the look as Jill and everything, and the outfit and the walk and all that, and the fighting, and just man, wow. That'd be like at Comic or Corner Street to have director invite his wife to bang it on the camera. Yeah, that is very weird. I would say the first Resident Evil movie is best, mainly because they kind of just capture the horror aspect. Others are just like Michael Bay movies, which are supposed to be like an attraction. Yeah, I guess that's one way of putting it. But it's like, well, you might as well just call it something else than not Resident Evil, at that point, because it just, yeah. Or just say it's based off of Resident Evil. But yeah, it's just like weird how James Gunn casted his wife as the main female lead and stuff to Peacemaker, to John Cena and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, no, I would never do that. Like, why would I, like, yeah, as a director, and like I said, if my wife was an actress and stuff, I would not cast her to, be in love with, have this love scene with another man. Like I said, it's one of those things where I might have to come to peace that in other movies that she might star in or play in or whatever, that she might have to like kiss another man or something like that or whatever, or have to kind of like, I don't know, get somewhat semi-naked or whatever, fine. But I would not be the one to be like, all right, well, I definitely want to put her in this position. Like, that's weird. And James Gunn was kind of having somewhat of a kind of a thing. Like, he was like, oh, well, it was awkward for me and all this stuff. But I mean, it kind of came out pretty well, I guess. And the whole camera spinning, it's still weird, dude. And to be honest with you, the relationship isn't even all that great, to be honest. It's not a good relationship. And honestly, the character is pretty obnoxious, even more so than Peacemaker. Which is weird because they also changed Peacemaker's sexual orientation to be bisexual, even though he's not bisexual in the comics. But they're like, oh, he's bisexual and all this stuff. But, they're obviously not going to really exploit that and just say that in dialogue or whatever, or for jokes. But, yeah. Which is weird that he is, they were like, oh, he's bisexual. But then he's the son of a neo-Nazi. How does that work? You have Judo Master or whatever, Eagly. Yeah, like the thing with James Gunn with the whole Eagle thing, how do I put this? When I started watching season 1 a few months ago, and I saw it after I saw Superman and whatnot, I was like, okay, I really see how James Gunn really does too much, where he be like doing all this with his animal characters and stuff. Because I mean, the crypto thing, I guess that's one thing. What else did he do? Rocket Raccoon. I mean, that is a character that is a part of Guardians of the Galaxy, so it's whatever. But this right here with Peacemaker with Eagly, I'm like, oh, God. And he even created this. I think he created this character too. But I'm like, um, this is weird, or this is like a little bit, like oh, I don't know. But yeah, it is what it is. I hated them. Alice was terrible. Bad casting, like Wentworth, the Miller, Captain. Oh yeah, yeah. I don't think he was. Well, I know as a yeah, but I don't think he was bad necessarily as Chris, but he just didn't really have a whole lot of things to do. And what's crazy is in that movie and Afterlife, they never really confirmed on whether or not Chris and Claire were actually related. They just kind of just skipped past that. Like, they never like really fleshed out Chris as a character because I think Chris was like a prisoner or something of Wesker in that movie, and Claire just so happened to come to the thing or whatever. But they never really confirmed if like Chris or Claire are like brother and sister like they are like how they are supposed to be in the video games and stuff. And they just got like yeah, it was weird. All trash to me. The animated Resident Evil films are good though. I need to watch all. I do need to watch the remainder of the Resident Evil films. I have seen some of them, like the one with Leon and Claire and stuff. That was pretty good. I probably do need to see Death Island. Yeah, that's where they all teamed up. So that was probably like yeah, pretty cool. And something as a Resident Evil fan that was just long awaited. All right, and now we play the season 2 intro. Yeah, the first season one kind of sounds a little bit better. Characters that nobody cares about. And it's weird that they made the plot line about this whole metahuman prison thing because I thought it was one thing for okay, fine. In the Superman movie, makes sense, I guess, to have somewhat of a metahuman prison in another dimension, but they continue to run with this whole plot line of, oh, there's a Resident. I mean, I said sorry, I was looking at this comment. There's a metahuman prison in another dimension, and blah blah blah, and we're gonna keep doing this, and I'm like, who cares? You might as well just put one on Earth and just have like I don't know specialized metal or energy based stuff or whatever to contain some of these people. I mean, haven't we not seen like I don't know Injustice where Batman was able to contain like characters like Superman and a lot of his followers from the regime inside certain prisons and stuff like that, and he didn't have to like make another dimension, all that stuff, etc. Or we've seen that with Cadmus with Amanda Waller, where she was able to make prisons and stuff for like the Justice League and all that stuff to contain them in. Like, yeah. So I'm just saying, like, I don't think that really should be a major plot line to like keep like reiterating, but that's just me. And then I heard they bastardized Rick Flag Senior and stuff, which even though I wasn't a huge fan of Creature Commandos per se, but Rick Flag Senior, he was somewhat of a likable guy or somebody like he was kind of like the everyday man, I guess. Somebody you can kind of follow a little bit, but they like completely bastardized him inside Peacemaker 2. I mean season 2 or whatever. Where and I get. Trust me, I get it. Like he killed his son and all that stuff, but I feel like all this other stuff that he was just doing, what I heard that he was doing, I just feel like, all right, that's just extra, dude. Like, I mean, I get it. He killed your son. It would make sense that you would just like kill him and just get it over with, or I don't know, lock him up or whatever. But let's throw him in another dimension and he gets to be a test subject. Let me waste all this manpower and energy and all this other stuff, and then all of a sudden, let's make Rick Flag Senior corrupt and stuff. I'm like, okay, but if you wanted to make him corrupt, you already had Amanda Waller, who was already like that to begin with. So it's like, so we just got rid of Amanda Waller to replace her for Frank DeGrillo. I mean, well, for Rick Flag Senior, Frank DeGrillo. And a lot of people had already predicted the Earth X thing and stuff. About the whole Nazi world and all this stuff or whatever that was going to go down. Um, I was like, yeah, that's probably going to be the case. And it was like, oh, that's the bombshell. It's Earth X, and this is Nazi world. And Peacemaker was too absorbed in the fact that like his family was alive and that he was like, I don't know, just too raised by his dad to not notice any of the red flags that this is Nazi world or whatever, and that there aren't any, uh, you know, minorities around and stuff like that. So I don't know. I'm just like, okay. I mean, I've seen Earth X done better in like, I don't know, Justice League, where, Vandal Savage, didn't he not like go back in time and like he changed the outcome of World War II, where the Nazis won, and then that impacted the present, where Batman was now leading some kind of resistance group against the Nazis and stuff like that. And the Justice League had to go back in time, like everybody else, like Superman, Wonder Woman, Martian Manhunter, Hawk Girl, Flash, and Green Lantern had to all go back to try and stop Vandal Savage and stuff. And they had some pretty good stories or side stories and stuff where like Wonder Woman teamed up and fell in love with Steve Trevor and stuff, like how she does in the comics. Or I forgot what Superman was doing. Or Hawk Girl, I think she teamed up with the Black Hawks. I think Flash was just getting people to safety or something. What's his face? John Stewart was with like some Commandos team. I can't remember who they are. I want to say Howling Commandos, but that's Marvel. Martian Manhunter, I remember he actually did see Adolf Hitler and stuff like that. He was frozen. That was pretty wild. Like a lot of stuff, like that was a better handle, and that was a kids cartoon that handled it better than this show, And I just think that James Gunn probably has like some kind of obsession or something when it comes to Nazis, because I'm like, dude, why are you always, beating us over the head about Nazi this, Nazi that? Like, who cares, Because first it started with Creature Commandos, where you had G.I. Robot, where, all he did was just talk about nothing but Nazis and killing them and stuff. Okay, great. And now you had season 1 of Peacemaker. Well, this is, before Creature Commandos, but that's the order how I saw it. Peacemaker season 1, where his dad was a neo-Nazi and he was a part of some kind of racist, hate group or whatever, and he calls himself the White Dragon. yeah, that's great. And of course, it makes sense for the American patriotic character to be going up against apparently the Nazi guy in modern times. I mean, and I get Captain America, he fights a guy like that's a Nazi and stuff, whether it be Red Skull or Baron Zemo. But Captain America, he used to be around during those times, and he was created by, Joe Simon and Jack Kirby and stuff, who, I don't know about Joe Simon, but Jack Kirby definitely used to fight inside those wars. So I think they definitely had the right to definitely tell those type of stories, or they can handle it competently compared to nowadays, where James Gunn is just doing it to be immature and childish. Oh, look, he said Nazi. It's funny. Oh, he must be a bad guy because the Nazis, they don't like minorities. We get it. Okay. But I just feel like it's a very lazy way of like trying to vilify a character by being like, oh, well, they're a Nazi, so they're not a good person to begin with, so they're horrible, so they deserve to die. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, but you're not going to put in the work to actually make a actual like legit decent villain. But anyways, let me read some of these comments. Courage, dance. If they Nazi world logically sense, everyone would be Germanized or speaking German, and neighborhood would be a ghost town and ghetto treatment. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it would be like that. Or like, yeah, or even the Arrowverse, they also handle Earth X better even in that one. Original Wolfenstein game were better than Peacemaker, handled the topic on another timeline, Nazi world, Earth X. Yeah, and then they also brushed it off like it was nothing. Like, I don't know. It was weird. And then people want to scream about, oh, comic book accuracy. Okay, but the thing is about Peacemaker, for what I hear, first off, his dad wasn't a villain of his. I think there was a story where he was sort of like a Nazi sort of inventor or something like that, or whatever. There was that, but that's yeah. And now they just turned him into like a whole villain called the White Dragon, or now he's the Blue Dragon here, but he's kind of a hero s character. And then his brother, which Peacemaker doesn't have a brother in the comics, by the way, but they just made up a brother for him to kind of give him some tragic backstory in the first season, and now in the second season, well, here he is, which is kind of a waste because I'm like, you could probably bring him over and just take advantage of the fact that this is an alternate universe and stuff if you really wanted to like go there. But I don't know. I'm probably just overthinking it. Well, not really, but Robert Patrick, yep, he deserves better than this. T1000, bro. You've been hit by a smooth criminal. Din, 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 din. Let me stop. All right, I'm going to just leave it off right there. All right, the scene shown a fat black woman character ran away from a white crowd is funny than serious. A little bit. I mean, it's meant to be a joke or whatever. Yeah. And that's the thing too about James Gunn as to why I just don't think that he was not the right fit for DC to begin with. Because when I first heard like what James Gunn did when they made him like the new head of DC was that he basically got rid of everything else. And it wasn't just the Snyder stuff, but he got rid of everybody's other work. And so whether it be Snyder's or David Ayer or I don't know, Patty Jenkins or James Wan, like got rid of all their stuff because he wanted to but he kept his stuff canon. I was like, wow, that's a very narcissistic thing to do. Like that's just, I don't know. To me, that's just a very narcissistic thing to do, that just destroy everybody else's stuff. But then you want to keep your own stuff that was heavily attached to the DCU, but you're going to be like, oh, well, let me retroactively change it a little bit. It still kind of counts if they refer back to it. You know what I'm saying? And then the more we get of this new world of the DCU and stuff, and like the more we get, like, even though, yes, I know we got like stuff like Creature Commandos and Peacemaker and all that, and you can kind of see these shows as like, oh, well, they're kind of just jokes. They're like, oh, it's okay for that self-contained world. But if this is supposed to be like the world of the DC universe, right, then I just can't take it seriously. You know what I'm saying? Because if this is how, let's say, the courts and the laws or how the characters act or how normal people act and stuff inside this universe, or how everything is treated like a joke, then this kind of bleeds into like not only Superman, but it bleeds into Batman, Wonder Woman. This is how everybody's going to act like, or this is going to be their world. You know what I'm saying? Like, and we definitely saw firsthand with Superman and all that stuff, how that definitely impacted all that stuff, So it's weird. So that's why I was like, yeah, no, I don't think James Gunn is just not that guy. And on top of that, like, it's weird to me anyways how you got like one person like James Gunn because you wanted him to be like your Kevin Feige and stuff. And I'm like, Kevin Feige's not even good at his own job right now. Why do you need one person to be like the figurehead of one thing? You know what I'm saying? You need like at least maybe 3 or 4 people, in my opinion, probably, to kind of like steer the ship a little bit, But that's just me. And I really feel like James Gunn really needs forget James Gunn. That's why everybody's talking about he's about to get fired. But whatever. If writers are obsessed with Nazis nowadays, why wouldn't they just make a movie about Henry Ford being the ultimate villain? After all, he supported Hitler and was published. Yeah, they could. I don't know. Because, I mean, it's just like one of those little quiet parts you just don't say out loud kind of things where they're like, oh, well, I hate this person and stuff, but I enjoy their work. You know what I'm saying? Because even Disney, I heard, like even Walt Disney, I think, kind of supported the Nazis or whatever. I'm glad to look into that eventually, but I heard about that. And that's, but people still like Disney, right? Gunn used the Nazi trope as a flaw in out ideas. Yeah, he's definitely out of ideas, and he just needed like I don't know, something easy to kind of like get people riled up or be like, oh yeah, he's killing Nazis. If you don't like Nazis or if you're criticizing this, then you're a Nazi yourself. That's not how that works. Like that's not how that works. And it's the same thing too with that whole the Batman like that drawing that somebody did of absolute Batman. I thought he was breaking. He was apparently suffocating, but I thought he was breaking an ice agent's neck or something or whatever. And I'm like, ugh, God, stop getting political with these heroes like that, man. Like that's not that's not funny at all. It's kind of stupid. Or like how they're talking about like, oh, we're gonna do this story where Batman is gonna be going up against the KKK and stuff. Do I really want a story about Batman going up against the KKK right now? No. Oh, but if you're against it, then you must be all support of the KKK. No. And it's like the same thing with Assassin's Creed. You guys are just going to childishly make the KKK. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that they're good at all. Hell no. But it's just like, dude, come on, stop being childish and actually try to like, put out something a little bit more nuanced or a little bit more mature than that. And it's the same thing with James Gunn. Like, why are you putting out all this like childish? Oh, everybody's got to be like, oh, this specific group of people got to be the bad guys. Even though, don't get me wrong, they are bad guys. But it's like this is all 20th century stuff. We're in the 21st century. Why are we still stuck up on this? Disney, who had some Jewish staffs, it's a rare occurrence. Yeah. Ooh, yikes. But yeah. So what else can I say about Peacemaker? But yeah, that's what I can say for the most part. But yeah, like I was saying, like, yeah, so a lot of the stuff is going to bleed into like a lot of this stuff. And it's like, we're not going to take none of this stuff seriously. I just think that people like it because it's more so like, oh, it's like Marvel and all that stuff. And I'm like, DC's not like Marvel at all, even though, yeah, they're both superhero genres and all that stuff, but Marvel is a completely different beast compared to DC. And I feel like Marvel honestly hasn't really been that good since a little bit since phase 2, to be honest, really. And that's just pushing it because phase 1 was perfect in my opinion, but phase 2, I feel like they started to slowly kind of go downhill a little bit with the jokes and all that stuff. And even at the time, I was kind of like, and then we go into phase 3, right? Where even though I know we love phase 3 because of Spider-Man Homecoming and Infinity War and all that other stuff, phase 3 wasn't a good phase in my opinion, and then we all know the rest from there, phase 4 and 5, which was completely garbage. So yeah. But I will say like the Superman movie and Peacemaker here all feels like phase 3 Marvel, where it's not like, oh, it's bad because it's woke or anything. No, it's just bad because the characters don't take themselves seriously and they just throw out pointless references and Easter eggs and all that stuff and want you to get all hyped about it. Oh my God, he name dropped Killer Croc in Dr. Phosphorus, which by the way, it's weird that they brought up Killer Croc and Dr. Phosphorus. And I'm like, wait. Did Lex Luthor just say that that Killer Croc is prison raping Dr. Phosphorus in prison? Like, what? Like, it's weird. And it's also like, I don't think that's dialogue that even Lex Luthor would say. Like, it doesn't sound like, I don't know. Like, to me, like, I mean, I'm not crapping on Nicholas Hoult or anything, but I'm just like, yeah, his Lex Luthor just doesn't have, like, I don't know, like his dialogue doesn't sound all that sophisticated or doesn't sound all that intelligent in my opinion. Like even when he was in that one scene where he was like, oh, well, Superman's trying to groom people. Really? He used the most modern word. You couldn't just say he's nurturing us or something. I don't know. But I'm not going to get too stuck on stuff. I can't speak. Stuck up on it right now. Kind of like canceled Assassin's Creed game. It's just out of ideas and forced pandering. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm also referring to as well. Like the KKK thing was like, they were like, oh, let's do an Assassin's Creed game where you play as a black person and you fight up against the KKK. Why? We just know you're going to childishly make this some kind of hate fantasy where you're playing as like a black person. You're going up against the KKK and stuff. And it's like, look, don't get me wrong. I do like God of War and stuff, Kratos, he kind of was supposed to be like that guy, or that the games and stuff were meant to be like, oh, you go around And let's say you had a tough day at work and you're like, man, I need to kill something, or man, I need to beat somebody up. And you're fighting, you're playing as Kratos and you're fighting like these asshole gods and stuff. Yeah, it makes sense to be killing them and stuff like that in the game, or you're going up against them and all that stuff, you know? But to specifically be like, oh yeah, let's make a game where we're fighting the KKK or whatever. And if it's for like a brief moment or something, fine, whatever. But if you're making this the entire story, I'm not feeling that. You know, that's just like, okay, again, revenge fantasy or hate fantasy. Same thing with the Nazi stuff. Even though I can understand, like, if it was like a period type of thing, like let's say Indiana Jones or something, like, okay, makes sense where he would be going up against Nazis because he was around during those times. Makes sense. But it's just, again, it's childish, immature. I think entire Killer Croc's purpose should be him talking how he threw a big rock about Batman. Yeah. Hit him with a rock. Yeah, that was like a joke 3 times. Or so if you guys don't know from Batman animated series, you know, Killer Croc almost killed Batman by bashing his head in with a rock, but he passed out and fell unconscious or whatever. And then that episode almost got him, where Batman was disguised as Killer Croc and stuff. He was like retelling about how, well, it's Batman though, but he was retelling how Killer Croc had almost killed Batman with a rock and stuff. And he was like, I was closer, and I almost hit him with a rock. And then everybody looked at Killer Croc like, really? Did he really just say that? Okay, so next story. You know what I'm saying? And then later on in that episode where they're doing the little lawyer thing, Batman was also like, no, not Batman. Killer Croc was like they're about like talking about, oh, let's execute Batman, shoot him, hang him, hit him with a rock. Yeah, but yeah, funny stuff. But yeah, and that's also like weird too. Like, so now are we changing Dr. Phosphorus and Killer Croc's sexual orientation now? But it is what it is. But anyways, that's that. I probably don't really have much else to really talk about. But let me skim through this. I see Trey McKell had uploaded another video. Tito Kubo, class back at Haters and Tourists. I'm definitely checking that out after I'm done with this. A lot of people don't really give Bleach a lot of credit, but I actually do like Bleach. Never really had much hatred for it. I mean, don't get me wrong. As far as like the Holy Shonen trio or trinity between Naruto, One Piece, and Bleach, I'm pretty sure you guys know where I align. Naruto is my favorite, and then after that, I would say One Piece and then Bleach. But I mean, don't get me wrong though, Bleach is also a pretty good series as well, and whatnot. And of course, you know, everybody was hyped when the anime came back with the 1,000-Year War arc. So there was that. And Tito Kubo is definitely a very talented like manga artist and stuff and all that. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a reason why Bleach is in that trinity as well. But yeah. Yeah, don't really have much to talk about. Yeah, I saw Jester Bell's video. I didn't see this one. I saw her video about Hulk though, which she was somewhat kind of, yeah, I do kind of agree to an extent about her take on that. All right, well, I'm gonna probably just end it here since it's getting late. But anyways, thank you guys for joining this crazy ride and stuff. Well, it wasn't that crazy. Hopefully I might be able to live stream soon again. This went pretty well, especially for my new computer. I didn't get kicked out of my own stream at all like I normally do because I got a new computer. So this is working out pretty fine. But tell me down below what you guys think. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. This is Joe Low Fox, and I'm out. Peace, and until we meet again. Peace out.